You ever have those days where you feel like you're being pulled in a million different directions? You're juggling work, family, your own personal goals, and just, trying to keep your head above water? It's this universal search for what we call a balanced life. Well, today we're going to explore a few really powerful frameworks that can help us find our footing. So let's dive in. This quote from a squadron commander, Kevin H. Delano, it absolutely nails that feeling, doesn't it? It's that constant checklist running in your head, the promises you're trying to keep, the things you let slide. One minute you're all in on a deadline, the next you're thinking about a family thing, and then that little voice pops up, reminding you that, yep, you skipped the gym again. I'm willing to bet that hits pretty close to home for a lot of us. That feeling of being totally overstretched, where one part of your life is always stealing focus from another, it's just part of the human experience. The real question is, what can we actually do about it? How do we start building a life that feels fulfilling instead of just reacting to whatever's thrown at us? To figure that out, we're going to explore a kind of toolkit of ideas. We'll look at 4 different models: the big picture 8 dimensions of wellness, the psychological PERMA model, the Japanese concept of ikigai for finding purpose, and the super practical 5Fs framework. Think of it as a guided tour for building a more intentional life. First up, we've got the 8 dimensions of wellness. Now, what's really important to get here is that wellness isn't just about being physically healthy or, not being sick. It's a much, much bigger and more connected picture of our overall quality of life. This model comes from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, or SAMHSA, and it does a brilliant job of showing how all the different parts of our lives overlap and affect each other. It's not just a list of separate boxes you have to check off. It's more like a series of interconnected circles. When you're strong in one area, it tends to lift up the others. But if you neglect one, it can start to pull the others down with it. And here they are, the 8 areas that all come together to create our well-being. You've got emotional, which is all about coping with life's challenges. Environmental, your physical surroundings. Financial, that sense of security. Intellectual, staying curious and learning. Occupational, finding satisfaction in your work. Physical, taking care of your body. Social, building strong connections. And finally, spiritual, which is about having a sense of purpose. So the biggest takeaway from this whole model is that wellness is, it's dynamic. It's not some destination you finally arrive at. It's an active, ongoing process. It's about all the choices, big and small, that you make every day that move you closer to a life that feels healthy and fulfilling. It's all about building a solid foundation across the board. All right, let's shift gears to our next framework. We're moving from that really broad, holistic view of wellness to the actual science of psychological well-being. And that brings us to the PERMA model. It's a great question, right? To flourish, it's more than just feeling happy for a moment. It's about really thriving, having that deep sense of vitality, and feeling like you're moving forward in life. So, a psychologist named Dr. Martin Seligman, who's basically one of the founders of positive psychology, wanted to answer that exact question scientifically. He developed this model, PERMA, to break down that big idea of flourishing into 5 core measurable pieces. And these are the 5 pillars. P is for positive emotions, actively seeking out joy, gratitude, and hope. E is for engagement, that feeling of being so absorbed in what you're doing that time just melts away. That's what psychologists call flow. R is for relationships, because as another expert, Christopher Peterson, famously said, other people matter. M is for meaning, that feeling of being connected to something bigger than yourself. And finally, A is for accomplishment, chasing goals and getting better at things, not just for the prize at the end, but for the journey itself. Okay, so from the science of flourishing, let's head over to Japan to explore a concept that's all about finding a central, guiding purpose in your life. And that is ikigai. Ikigai is this really beautiful idea that comes from Okinawa, a place famous for how long its people live. It literally translates to your reason for being. It's that thing that gets you jumping out of bed in the morning, totally energized and filled with purpose. So how do you find it? Well, the framework asks you to reflect on 4 big, overlapping questions. Number 1, what do you truly love to do? Number 2, what are you actually good at? 3, what does the world need right now? And number 4, what can you get paid to do? Now, here's the magic of it. Your ikigai isn't hiding in just one of these answers. It's found right in the middle, in that sweet spot where all 4 of those things intercept. It's where your passion, your skills, a real-world need, and your job all come together into one single, powerful purpose. Okay, for our last framework, we're going to look at something that is incredibly simple and practical. It's called the 5 Fs, and you can almost think of it like a quick glance dashboard for your entire life. What's so great about this model is how simple and flexible it is. On the left, you've got the version from Commander Delano, faith, family, fitness, fun, and force, which basically means the mission or your work. Then on the right, a version from a digital agency called Modern Tribe is almost the same, but they swap fun for friends and force for finance. The core idea, as you can see, is pretty much the same. And look, the goal here is not about getting a perfect score in every category every single day. That's impossible. It's just a simple, powerful checklist. It's a way to step back and ask yourself, hey, where am I out of balance? Am I actually putting my energy into the things that really matter to me? It's a great little tool for making regular course corrections. So, we've just walked through 4 really powerful frameworks, and each one gives us a different way to look at what it means to live a good life. The big question now is, how do we put all this together and create something that actually works for us? Let's do a super quick recap to see them all side by side. The 8 dimensions give us that complete, holistic view of mind and body. The PERMA model zooms in on what makes us flourish psychologically. Ikigai is all about finding that deep central purpose. And the 5 Fs give us a practical checklist for day-to-day balance. Each one is a different piece of the puzzle. And this is the most important takeaway of all. These frameworks, they aren't rigid rules you have to follow. They're tools. They are building blocks. The real goal here is to borrow ideas from each of them. Maybe you love the focus on flow from PERMA, the purpose of Ikigai, and the simple check-in from the 5 Fs, and use them to build your own personal compass that can guide your choices. I'll leave you with this final thought. We spend so much time chasing success like it's some fleeting feeling, like happiness that we can just catch and hold on to. But what if that's the wrong way to look at it? What if real, lasting success isn't a feeling at all, but just the natural result of living a life full of purpose, with a balanced focus on the things that truly matter? Definitely something to think about.